Hi knitters, it's Maggie from Knitting in the Park here. Shh, go back to sleep. With my littlest one in my lap. Hopefully she stays asleep. I wanted to pop on and give a little update as to what's been going on. I've been quite silent here on YouTube, but that's because I'm kind of figuring out life with two littles instead of just one in a new house over the holidays, and kind of figuring out my work situation and hours and how much time I have for crafting. And that crafting has kind of dovetailed where I only ever really posted stuff about knitting, and now I'm getting into sewing. Sewing, if you are new or haven't been around for a little bit, I picked up over the course of the pandemic. I was really stress knitting a lot, and I was getting a lot more carpal tunnel type symptoms and pain in my shoulder. But I didn't want to lose the catharsis that crafting is. So I knew I needed to pick up a secondary hobby, one that gave me the same kind of creative outlet and emotional release as knitting, but that preserved my arms and shoulders and back and all of that jazz. So I've fallen in love. I have my office devoted to like workspace slash knitting space and sewing space, and it's working out really well. I've been making a lot of clothes for the kids and mainly PJs because like they're super easy, and I've made a few things for myself, and I have a lot of fabric accumulated for projects that I'm really excited and looking forward to. So now that it's winter, I think I'm going to start doing some more spring type stuff and summer type stuff to kind of prep for those seasons. I've been kind of playing catch up where it's like, oh, it's the beginning of winter, I'll make a whole bunch of winter stuff, but then it's just not the right time. I don't give myself enough time to do it. So I'm going to start for the next season. We have 2 weddings that we're going to be going to over the summer, and I think I'm at the place where I'm confident enough in what I have learned to be able to make something that I feel confident enough to wear to an event like a wedding. So I have some really pretty fabrics. I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna just jump right in with those fabrics or if I'm gonna find the pattern that I want to use and then do a test run to make sure that I can do it. But I'm gonna do it. I have go to sleep. Also, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's having some time off over the holidays because my client has kind of taken a break for everybody over the holidays, that I'm getting back into knitting. And if you're following along on the Instagram, you'll see that I recently published finished and then just like literally as of yesterday published a shawl pattern, and I'm so excited with the shawl pattern that I didn't want to actually give away the finished piece, but I also love the person as much as I love the finished piece, so I went ahead with gifting it. And the joy of knitting is I can make it again. And so while I knit I'm calling it the First Tracks shawl because there are some really pretty kind of like chevron lines that go down a simple stockinette base for the shawl or background. And it kind of just reminds me of like getting out skiing and having those first couple runs in that pristine, beautiful snow. So a little background on the name there. And I have a couple of skeins of Zen Yarn Garden, and I bought them on my honeymoon, but just never got around to knitting something with them because I think I was just so afraid of wasting them. They're just beautiful hand-dyed yarns. Normally, I stick to more machine-made worsted weight acrylics because it's easy to knit with and then also gift. So I gift a lot of my hats and different projects, and yes, it's nice to gift things made out of high quality yarn, but a lot of the people that I gift to are busy moms and they just don't have the time to be hand washing and blocking the things that I make them. And obviously, with kids around, there's little dirty hands everywhere, and you're going to be having to wash those items a lot more frequently. So, I want something that's going to preserve the gift. And also, I need it to be affordable. And so that's kind of a backstory there about a lot of the other projects that I use. But this is a beautiful yarn. I'm so happy with the shawl pattern that I feel confident knitting it or a variation of it. So the way my brain tends to work is, oh, sorry, my nose is really itchy for some reason. I'll come up with a pattern, and once it works, once I know it works, I kind of start thinking of like all the different deviations or variations that you could have on that pattern. And so I'm starting to jot them down, figure them out, and then create them now that I've got the time to just sit and knit. Kind of, the kids are sleeping. One is literally right here sleeping, that I can devote to. And I've been using some chunkier yarns, so that also makes it faster and more feasible to do. But I'm planning on doing that with the shawl pattern right now, just because it's so beautiful and I love it so much and I want a version of it. So, or who knows, maybe I'll end up gifting this one again, because I'm blessed. I have a lot of knit-worthy people in my life. I just recently saw an Instagram video of a knitter saying that there aren't that many knit-worthy people in your life, and, you know, kind of cautioning people to, and I get it, and I caution people to only gift to knit-worthy people, but I think that people in my life understand my passion for knitting, and they are able to directly see the amount of time, effort, and energy that go into a project. So they end up being more knitworthy than not. And yeah, so I end up gifting a lot of my stuff, which is really nice because it brings a lot of joy. I mean, I don't get to keep a lot of my stuff, which is always kind of a sad thing. Like, my husband's like, why don't you keep that? That's really nice. You spend a lot of time on it. And I love that he understands that, and that's his sentiment there. But it's also they make really nice gifts. And when a lot of the times when I'm knitting one of these projects, that timing will coincide when I need a gift. So it just so happens that either I'm thinking of that person and that gift that I need, and the project kind of comes to mind and I can make it, or I'll just be having fun and playing and coming up with a pattern, and then it's like, oh, you know, there's a wedding coming up, or oh, Christmas is coming up. I need a gift for so-and-so, and I think this is something that would really match well with that person. That's kind of what happened with the first tracks shawl. It was knitting it, and that's not one that I kind of knew what it was going to look like. I was kind of evolving the pattern as I was working on it. And so I think that's why I initially, when I started knitting with the Knit Picks tweed fingering weight yarn, I was just like, this has been sitting here for too long and it's taking up space, and I need to start doing something with it. And I've got it in I think 4 different colors, 3 now because I've made 1 shawl already. So I was like, I need to use this. And I had this creative spark, and I was like, okay, so we started doing the pattern and it started to evolve. And it was really cool that I didn't end up having to frog something, and that it just kind of came to fruition and was a beautiful pattern. And I was thinking of this person and I needed a gift for this person, and I'm sitting there thinking, you know, I want to gift them something really nice. And we already had a couple gifts bought for that person. So I was really struggling, like, what else to get them for Christmas. And I looked down and thought, you know, this is really turning into something beautiful. Maybe I'll gift it to this person. And this person is in my husband's family. And so I sought his advice because, you know, he's seen what they wear over time. And I never want to put pressure on somebody by gifting them something that they're not going to feel comfortable wearing, or that isn't part of what they actually gravitate towards. I want it to be something that they think like, oh, where's this? I want to, oh, I've got that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to reach for a shawl. So here's this one that somebody has gifted me. I don't want to be like, oh, I never wear that. I should find a time and place to wear that. So that's kind of how the first tracks shawl both came into my life and exited my life organically, I guess I should say. So I'm happy to be playing with it again in this beautiful yarn. Now, I bought a couple of hand-dyed skeins from Zen Yarn Garden, and they're a little bit different. So this one's a range of greens, then I've got one that's a blue-green, and then I've got a navy, and then I've got one that's like kind of a navy gradient to white. And I'm gonna see how they all look in one shawl. Not quite sure, but I think it's gonna go pretty well. And it's another reason I think I'm gonna keep this one, because it's kind of like a color palette that I know I wear a lot of oranges and reds, but my favorite colors are blues and greens. Also, please pardon the hair. I'm experimenting with ways to contain all of this craziness. It is a huge mistake that I made, that after baby bear number 2 came, I went and got my hair cut before I experienced postpartum hair loss, and I didn't know what I wanted, so I let the girl talk me into layering my hair because it is a little bit thicker. But then I layered it, she layered it, and then I started postpartum hair loss, and now it's just like all kinds of different funky layers all over the place, and thinner than it normally is and shorter than it was. So I don't know what to do with it right now. So this scarf is like the back is atrocious, so you're not gonna see that. Way that I'm trying to contain this, and I have to venture out to take this little one to a doctor's appointment today for a checkup. So yeah, and I'm by myself today. My husband's out at work, so I didn't want to have to try to take a shower and tame this while also getting them ready to get out the door. So those are kind of where I'm at with updates and life updates. This is one of the most recent hats. It's a mock cable pattern, so it's going to be called the mock-up hat, and I'm publishing this pattern next. I really like it. I was really hesitant to do the chunky or extra bulky, extra chunky knit hats, but I've had this yarn, again, taking up space in my stash, so I've started to play with them. This one is the mock cable with a right twist faux cable as well. So these are 2 variations of a similar pattern, and I'm toying with releasing them either one at a time or in a bundle. And I have 1 or 2 more ideas on this kind of faux cable idea, or faux cable design motif. So I think I'm going to keep playing around with it. I've got other chunky yarn that I've been dying to find a home for as well, so I'm going to do that. And I guess maybe I'll release them individually, but then also maybe make like a book of all of them. You tell me. I'm also thinking about trying them in a like Aran weight. So not quite your worsted, but not quite your super heavy bulky weight as well. And the fun thing about that is like these cables don't shrink up because they're faux cables. They're not actual traditional cables. So it makes playing with like the stitch count a little bit more predictable. And so some of these patterns are a little bit faster and easier to size up or size down or try in different weights. I think I'm gonna have some fun with that too. And yeah, let me know if there's anything that you're excited about seeing, including these. They're on my Instagram, so you can see what they look like on. This is Big Twist yarn, again in that more synthetic yarn. And then this is the Lion brand Respun. So I believe it's a polyester or acrylic as well. And they're not scratchy, they're soft enough that you can wear. And the pom-poms I have a tutorial on these pom-poms as well. But I might update it because after cinching and knotting the fabric after stuffing it, I kind of have started a little bit of a newer technique on making them a little less floppy. As I first released the pattern, they kind of flopped around on the top of the hat because the string ended up being on one side rather than like pulled through the center. So I've just kind of like added a little step there. So I might redo that one. I also have to do a restock on my larger pom-poms. You'll see these are like the same because this is what I have left. And I want more of a white, like a simple clean white. And I have some of that in my fabric stash. I just didn't want to totally blow up the office right before the holidays, because when you make anything with a faux fur fabric, you know that it's just poof. You know, it looks like I've just sheared a husky when you make these. So that's why I haven't been doing that. I also have some fun ideas with some fun fabric that my toddler picked out for like costumes and stuff. If you saw on Instagram, we got him, it's from a company called Jack's Beanbags, but it's like that play couch that like Nugget and other people are making. It was just a little bit more affordable. It was on sale over Black Friday, so I was able to get 2 pieces instead of just the play couch. There was like also a door kind of to a castle type piece that I got for the baby for Christmas. And so I want to make some more like costumey play type things that he can just really broaden he's getting really creative. He's starting to kind of role play and give characters different voices. He got puppets for Christmas that we're really excited about. I think that's going to be a really fun thing to play with him. So he picked out like the sequiny fabric that he kind of was drawn to. We watched Up, and I don't know if you've seen like the bird Kevin. It just kind of reminded him again of that, I guess. I don't know, he's 2, so I think there's a 50-50 shot of whether it actually reminded him of something or if he just liked the color. So, but to sum it all up, I have leftover fabric that I want to remake his dragon tail or his dino tail out of. So, there's a remake of that coming as well. Oy, oy, oy. And I'm going to try to figure out how to do PDFs of some of these more simple patterns. Like, I don't plan on offering clothing sewing patterns, but for something as simple as like the dino tail that doesn't have multiple sizes and it's just kind of a simple shape, rather than say, you know, draw this shape to this size. Maybe I can make it as easy as like printing something out, but I don't know how to do that yet. So that's also another skill that might be coming. So thanks for hanging out with me. I'm gonna go get ready for this one's checkup. Wish me luck. It's the first time taking 2 kids to the pediatrician by myself. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it goes well. So Merry Christmas to all who celebrate. Happy holidays to people of different faiths and different traditions and backgrounds. Hope you've had a wonderful and warm, I say warm because we are in the middle of a cold snap here, holiday season.